Hello, Mr. Wahouse. This is Pat again. Take two. I guess we lost audio on the second half of our video yesterday. Well, lots transpired since yesterday, and as you'll see as we go, we've insulated today. But anyway, I wanted to state something up front, and that is that Craig forwarded me a list of questions that you had from the first half of the video. I'm going to address each one of those questions independently after we finish going through the second half again. So we're going to start here at the front entry because we're thinking this is about where we lost the audio. So here we are at the front entry, and the switches at the front entry, and this is one of your questions, but I'll explain it again. We have coach lights outside on the front of the garage. There are three, one on either side of the two-stall garage and one on the end of the single stall. Well, that is on a three-way switch, meaning that you can operate those lights from two different locations. I don't know why they call it a three-way and not a two-way, but they call a three-way switch a four-way. But this is on a three-way, which means that you can operate the coach lights on the garage fronts from either here or at the owner's entry. On or off here, on or off at the owner's entry. So whichever way you're coming in or going out of your home, you can illuminate those coach lights. So it's on a three-way switch. Okay. So also, what else we operate here is we've got recessed can on the front porch, which that switch, light switch, is here as well. So we've got exterior recessed can, we've got a three-way for the coach lights, and then the third switch here is for the entry lights. We've got recessed cans in the ceiling, and the third switch operates those. Now that also is on a three-way, because once you get to the grand room area, you'll be able to turn these hall lights out behind yourself. So we're going to move here into the study. We're prepped for double doors to the study. Coming into the study, we've got two switches here. One is for the optional 4 recessed cans, and the other is for a half-switched outlet across the room. And I'm not sure if one of your questions was about half-hots, but every room we have an outlet that is on a switch, so that if you choose to plug a lamp or something else into that outlet, you can turn it on from the switch as you enter the room. Also, there are service outlets around the room. We don't have any other electrical options, but we do have low volt options in this room. And on each wall, I'll point them out to you. On this front wall, we've got a CP, and that's located right here. And that CP is a Cat 6. We've got a uniport on the opposite wall. A CP also, which is low volt, Cat 6. And then on the adjacent to the master bedroom B wall, we've got a uniport. There's a uniport with all cables, cable and phone and Cat 6. So in the room, we got 3 walls with low volt, service outlets around the room, 4 recessed cans, and a half-switched outlet. So now we're going to move into the secondary sleeping areas, which is what we call the master B. Now there's 2 switches as you leave the entry, and you can turn off lights behind yourself, and then you're turning on traveling lights ahead of yourself into the master bedroom B. Before you get there, you can turn lights off behind yourself. As you enter the bedroom, lights on ahead of yourself. We've got optional 4 recessed cans up in the coffer. There's also a secondary switch for a half-switched outlet on this side of the room. The low volt options in this master suite B are, we've got a CP6 on this wall right here, and we have a CP6 on the opposite wall right here, and that's according to your low volt diagrams. We've got service outlets around the room, all around the room. We've got a walk-in closet and a tub shower optional bathroom. Here is the walk-in closet. As you enter, the door will swing this way. The switch is on this side for illumination recessed can in the closet. There is also a service outlet inside the closet for vacuuming or whatever. So as you come into this master bath B, door will swing in this way. We've got 2 switches here. One is for the 2 lights. One is above the mirror, above the lav, and the other is for the light above the shower. You've requested a poured-in-place shower. This is prep for that. We've got all the shower heads. Right now, these are at this and the master, and we'll talk about that. This is at 88 inches. You've requested them to be a minimum of 85, and the reason I've got them at 88 plus right now is we've got about a 3-inch shower pan. So to make sure that you're at least 85 inches above the shower pan. So in here we have a fan and light. So the other switch is for the fan, and so we've got stool, lav, outlet next to the lav. So as we leave the master B area, in this hallway, there is a linen closet. This will have 5 stack shelves in it. This is the secondary exit or entrance to the laundry room. And we're gonna sneak right through here. So we come into the laundry room, we've got switches here. We've got a 3-way switch for the recessed cans. You got optional can in here, we've added one. And the other switch is on the master side, and I'll show you that. The other switch also is on a 3-way, which is for the fan. This is your house fan in the laundry room. In the laundry, we've got washer left, dryer right, 110 outlet for the washer, and 220 for the dryer vent. In the laundry room also is a location where we put the attic access. I'm sorry, that's on this side, attic access. So this is the attic access. Up inside the access, there's a pull chain light and a service outlet up there. Okay, as we leave the laundry room and we're walking into the master suite area, 2 switches again, which are the 3-ways for the lights in the laundry and the fan in the laundry. Come into the master suite, and we've got a switch here for the recessed cans in the master closet. Come into the master bathroom. This is the master stool room. We have no options in the closet, which is pretty typical. Come into the master bathroom. This is the master stool room. Door will swing in. 2 switches, one for fan, one for light. Now here we are in the master bathroom, and we've got a his and hers lav on this wall. Don't know if it's yours or your wife's, but there's single lav here, service outlet, and light above the mirror. 2 switch banks stacked here, and the reason for that, we stack them in here, is for space consideration, but we have a light switch for both vanity lights. This is the other vanity, service outlet next to it. Vanity is about 5'6" long, light above the vanity, water. And so the switches here, we've got a switch for the vanity lights, which come on together. Then we've got recessed cans, general lighting in this area, in this kind of dressing area. We have the freestanding tub on this side and the shower here. This will be all glass enclosed. So the other 2 switches here are for the recessed cans above the freestanding tub, and the recessed can is switched separately in the shower. Now this is the shower area, and again, this is where you've opted for the hydro rail. Now tomorrow I'm meeting my plumber just to make sure we're all taken care of, but I believe most of the shower hydro rail is all taken care of in the trim. We have the diverter valve here. Again, the shower head currently is about 88 to 90 inches off the floor, and that's allowing for the 3-inch shower pan, poured shower pan below. So we make sure that that head is high enough. But I will confirm with my plumber tomorrow, Friday, that we don't need anything else here for the hydro rail option. But to the best of my knowledge, I think it's all in trim, but I'll confirm that, and I'll get with Craig so that he can confirm with you. So as we leave the master bathroom, we walk into the master bedroom area. We've got a closet here on the right, but we also have a switch here. And this is a switch for the entry lighting. This is on a 3-way coming from the grand room, which I'll show you in just a little bit, but you may turn the hallway light on or off from this location. As you enter the master suite, we have a 4-switch box here. One is for 3-way to turn off the lights behind yourself in the hallway. We've got optional 4 recessed cans up in the coffered ceiling, and we have a switch for a ceiling fan pre-wire, and then we have the half hot across the room again. So the half switched outlet is on this end of the room here. Now, we've got service outlets all around the room. You have not, according to your mini, requested any additional power except here high on this wall here where you may put a television. You've requested this to be at 72 inches. Also below we have a UP, which is a universal port, and that's got cable, Cat 6, everything involved there. The other low volt in the master bedroom is 0. You just have the universal port here. but we've got service outlets around the room, half switched outlet, 4 ceiling cams, and the ceiling fan pre-wire. So as we exit the master suite, we'll turn lights on ahead of ourselves again as we're moving down the hallway. This is the powder room, just off of the master suite and off of the grand room. In the powder room, we've got a lab with a light above mirror, a stool, 2 switches inside, one for the light and one for the fan. Power next to the lab. And as we move through to the great room, you've got a switch to turn lights off behind yourself, the hall lights behind yourself. Now we're going to stand in the great room because there are some specifics that you've requested here. And one was the switching, which we've located here, and bear with me. We've got 2 optional mini cans on either side of the fireplace, and you've requested that switch to be here. And we also have the 4 recessed cans in the grand room located there. That's where you'd like those switched. We've got a ceiling fan pre-wire. That is operated from here. We've got the 3-way to turn off lights behind yourself. We have 3-way switch to the dining light fixture located here, half hot across the room. This location again, we've got 4 recessed cans, the 2 mini cans, we've got the dining 4-way and the hallway cans, which if you're entering through the foyer and you've got lights on ahead of yourself, you can turn off behind yourself or vice versa. As you're exiting the grand room, great room area, going to the hall, turn on your traveling lights ahead of yourself. Again, in this foyer entry grand room area, this is the coat closet location. There's no lighting in there, but this is the coat closet, just before you get to the grand room. So in the grand room, I'll recap the optional lighting here. Are 4 recessed cans on a switch, 2 4-inch mini cans on either side of the fireplace. Now at the fireplace, on the low volt side, you have requested universal ports on both sides of the fireplace, low volt. That's the yellow, blue, and white wires. You've also requested conduit from both locations to the center above the fireplace. We've got an outlet at 72, low volt conduit from both locations above the fireplace. The other universal port, or the other optional low volt, is universal port here underneath the windows. That is here. And we've got service outlets around the entire grand room. A lot of power everywhere on every wall. So to recap the grand, we've got operation 4 ways for the dining fixture, operational for the recessed cans. We've got ceiling fan pre-wire plus lighting on and off behind yourself. On this side of the grand room, we also have put 3-way for the lighting, so you can turn it on and off from either side of the grand room. I believe we've covered the kitchen, is that not correct?
Yeah.
I know that you have a couple of questions in the kitchen. One we're gonna look at right now because we're standing here. Your question was the 2, I'm gonna stand on this side of the island, the 2 pendant fixtures, which are above my fingers. And you said, are those a little bit close together? Well, I can spread them. How we generally set those is we split the countertop in 3 if you've got 2 pendants. If you've got 3, we split it in 4 and place those pendants. Now, I do have the availability, and you just tell Craig yes or no. I can spread those pendants about 6 inches each without any problem whatsoever, and I can get that done. But you just need to let Craig know if you would like us to do that. But we've got the center, then we divide by 3, and we've got our pendant locations. But if you like those spread, I can definitely spread those a little bit before we start drywalling, no issue. Another question you had was there's a lot of wiring inside this island, and it is all high voltage. Now, how I understand, I do not have the specifications on the under cabinet lighting that you have picked, but I am told that everything mounts underneath the kitchen sink. So, or in this area behind the kitchen sink. We've got cabinets out here that really is a dead space, but all of the controllers and low voltage transformers, everything gets mounted under the sink, and everything is switched out from there. I will confirm and get specs on that. Maybe I'll send that to you if you don't have those, but I'll get more information on those. But I questioned that with my electrician, and he stated everything gets transformed and controlled from the boards that they put under the kitchen sink, which will come through the backs of the cabinets. Another question you had on your list was the disposal. On island kitchens, always, the disposal, there's two options for the disposal operation. Our standard is inside the sink cabinet, there's a switch for the disposal. Another is an air switch through the countertop. That is an option as well. I don't believe you have selected that. But the standard location for the switch for the garbage disposal is underneath the kitchen sink and the cabinet on the side. It's very easy to access. So I think that's it for the kitchen. Now we'll move downstairs where we left off yesterday. So at the top of the stairs, there are three switches also. One of them, as I had mentioned, is on a three-way for the dining fixture. So you could turn, if you're in the kitchen area, you could turn the dining light on here or from on the other side of the room. Also, we have can light centered in the stairwell. There's a switch for that light. You've asked us to close off the niche there. That is all flat wall. The other switch is for the optional stair lights, which you've selected. And I'm going to point those out as we go downstairs. Got one here, one on the landing, one on the landing, and then one mid-run on the lower stair. There's 4 step lights coming down. And as you come down, there's a door located here, but at the doorway, there's a switch to turn off the light, both lights behind yourself. You can turn off the step lights, turn off the recessed can in the ceiling, and as you enter the basement, there's a switch right around the corner to turn on all of the ceiling lights. I had mentioned something yesterday, which I apologize for not explaining what it meant, a keyless fixture. What that is just an industry term or a slang term for any light fixture that is just a bare light bulb. So for example, in your garage, the garage lighting is just a light bulb. In the basement, all of these ceiling fixtures will just have a bare light bulb. We call those keyless. Why, I don't know, but that's what they're called. So in the basement, we'll move around. This being the wet bar area, this addresses another question you had, but for the wet bar rough-in or a bathroom rough-in, all we rough in is waste and vent. We do not rough in any water lines. Your plumber, when you choose to finish the basement, your plumber will just tap onto the main in the mechanical room, which we'll look at in a few minutes, to get water wherever you choose to have it. And what that would be, if we would be finishing this basement, we would be bringing water lines overhead through the joist space, down through the framed wall, and then into a framed wall that we would have here at the sink location. So when we do a rough-in, it is waste and vent only, no water. So this is the, in our finished design, this would be the wet bar area, and we've got recreational room area. You can see everything that is framed wall is fully insulated. And that's all blown in insulation. Also, when we finish down here at the end, all of the concrete walls that are still in the house, those also get insulated, but they get a back insulation. There's a vinyl face on it, and it'll all be affixed to the walls, but there's a full insulation on the concrete walls as well. I can see that my insulators today covered our switch bank right here. So we've got a couple switches here. One is for the outside light, which is on the wall. This is like a coach light, similar but smaller in scale as to the front of the garage. So we've got a coach light here, power outlet. This is the low volt location that you've requested. Your request was as close to this outlet area as possible. This is all support members in the structure, so we couldn't get it next to the outlet, but adjacent to will do just as well. I had another question on your list to Craig, and that is, I pointed out yesterday a 110 outlet next to the hot tub pre-wire. I'm going to show you that. Here's our hot tub pre-wire. There'll be a disconnect here, a middle disconnect here. There's an outlet there that I showed you. Well, you got a free one, so you got a 110 outlet there. It's not on your mini, but our electricians were feeling generous when they wired, and they just added a 110 outlet. So there we go. That's free. more power around a house on the outside is always a plus. You never know what you're gonna do. If you choose to set your hot tub here, then your disconnect, what we would call a whip, would go right to that disconnect box for your hot tub. That's pretty standard. If you're within 6 feet, you don't have to do anything special, and that is less than to that pre-wire location. So as we come back into the basement, here we are in the great room area, and we have ceiling lights. I mentioned the sump pumps. We have one in the front of the house and one in the bottom, in the low grade of the house. I know you had a question about this, and I'm gonna take a couple of pictures from a finished, one in rough frame that I have, a ranch, same plan. It has a finished basement, and you'll see what we do with this sump area. This generally in our finished plan is a bedroom. So there are framed off walls here. Well, in this bedroom, what we do at this sump location is we build a box, and then we build a bench seat here, connected, and it really finishes well. We drywall it closed, we put a wood lid on it, an operable lid on the sump lid, we paint it, and then like in our model, we even have one in our model, you can throw cushions on there so it becomes a window seat and it looks very nice. But I will show you, I will send Craig a couple of pictures, one of a ranch that I have in frame stage, that this is all framed, and then one in a finished stage. It's not the exact same plan, but in our model, I have this exact same detail, where I have a sump pump in the low end of the house, and we've got a box with a seat next to it, and you'll see what the finish looks like. So here we are over at that bathroom rough-in, and I know that question was, do you rough-in water? Again, we do not. So what we have here is this being the lab rough-in with venting. This big pipe would be a stool, and that's it's being a shower or tub rough-in. So this is the bathroom location. All of these plumbing pipes and things would always bury or hide in all of the framing that you do when you finish a basement, because you have to come in at least 6 inches for all your frame walls. So all of this would cover in the frame walls, in the ceiling. The ceiling would drop in the bathroom generally for lighting, so everything would be covered in the frame of a finished basement. We're going to move around to the mechanical area before we move to the main service area. So here we are in the main mechanical room. We've got a main plumbing stack coming down from upstairs, and this is servicing all waste coming down from the kitchen side of the house. This is a clean out here. You can also see these black fittings. These are called Ferncos, and those are designed because the pipes don't, this is the pipe coming from underground, and this is the pipe coming from above ground. Well, we leave a gap there purposely between the two pieces of pipe, and we put a flexible coupling there. It's called a Fernco fitting, so that if and when the concrete floor moves at all, this is a designed floating floor, so it will move, and that's by design. Because we have swelling soils in Colorado, one thing we can guarantee is that your basement and your garage and your driveway, it will move a little bit, it can move a little bit, and we expect it to move. We provide control joints in the concrete, trying to control where it may crack when it does move. But this is designed, if that slab does move, even though we have isolation around, if that slab moves up, it'll slide around this isolation. But it also gives area for those pipes to be able to move without creating force and moving them greatly. And this is what we call a slip joint in Colorado. Again, that's designed so that if and when the concrete does move, it's not going to do any damage to anything that we're putting in here. It's got room to move, room to float. This is your indoor load center, which you requested. So we've got all home runs coming here, except what I call the heavies. And those are outside, like the air conditioning 220 circuits. Your hot tub comes over to this location. That's this wire here. But all house circuits will be in this interior load center. This is our hot water heater. These are hard. We had water inspections yesterday. This is the anti-scald device for your master bathtub. That will be explained to you at your new homeowner orientation. Water heater, furnace, again, I wanted to point out that at this furnace location, you can see at the top of, we call this the plenum. We've got this flexible, what we call boot, up at the top of the plenum, which is where the coil, and this is an air plenum, going up to the, this is the return side of the furnace, excuse me, the supply side of the furnace. But the reason this is here is that if that floor moves, this expansion boot can expand and contract without doing, it's not pushing on hard metal to metal connections. That's all by design because we do provide floating slabs. We take great care on what we do for concrete slabs. One of the things I had mentioned, which you may not have heard, is we do put in every house an interior perimeter drain system all around the foundation walls. And we're expecting that maybe water might percolate up through the ground or outside water may get down far enough. Well, we want to trap and control that water. So it goes to the interior drain system, then flows to the sump pit. We install sump pumps in the pit, and we have ejection, it ejects out to the outside. So this is the ejection pipe for this sump. This is a clean out to the city stormwater. We are tied into the city stormwater as well, so our sump pumps really become a secondary backup system. Power for the sump pump. This is our vapor pipe, and I think you had a question, why is it bent? Well, it's not bent, I can plumb this up a little bit, but this flexible joint is what's most important. And this is a vapor vent, which we put a vent pipe on top of the drain pipe that is all underground. And that is so that naturally vapor rises, whether it is moisture, or if there's some underground gas or something that's coming up through the ground, it'll move into the interior drain system and naturally vent out. This vent goes all the way out through the roof, through the attic and through the roof. So anything that's accumulating, any vapor, any moisture, humidity will naturally vent up. And we provide a vent pipe going up through the roof. So is it crooked? Kinda, but it really doesn't matter because it's a flexible joint. And it's designed like that. Now, could I strap this to the wall? I would if you'd like me to, just say so. This being our main water tree, and I know you had a question here as well in your notes to Craig, but let me explain this because now you have audio. We've got a main water service coming in from the street, from the city. And this comes up, we've got isolation shut-off valves. This is the pressure reducing valve. This adjusts your water pressure in your house. And we set that, there is a manufactured setting on there, and that is the water pressure that's set, that is adjustable. This will be explained to you at your orientation as well. We've got a sprinkler tee for outside irrigation going outside. This is an anti-hammer device. Sometimes in irrigation lines, you may get some air in the lines. This traps the air so the lines don't bang. So when you hear, if there's air that does get in the line, they won't rack. Main water supply. I had mentioned to you that we provide electrically a couple of different means of whole house grounding. You had seen in the garage, there's a UFER, we call it a UFER, slang term, or a CEE, concrete encased electrode. Our electric system grounds to that CEE in the garage. The secondary ground is to the water pipe. Good grounding is copper in soil. So this is 40 feet long going to the street to connect to the water meter pit. And that's underground, in the soil creates ground. So we have a bonding wire on the underground concrete or copper up, and we bypass this because this can be removed, so we don't want to lose ground, and ground goes up, and this also goes out to the main electric panel and then to a grounding rod. So we have two means of grounding. We have the CEE grounded in the garage to the ground, also from the underground copper. Two means of grounding just as a safeguard. This goes to the main electric panel on the back corner of the house to a 6 foot deep ground rod. So just safety in grounding, no shot. You'll never get any shocks from any shorts in the circuitry. In the basement, you have not requested any additional low voltage in the basement other than the CP6 on the back patio. So that pretty much wraps up the basement. We're going to go back upstairs, and I'm going to walk through your list of questions that you sent to Craig, and hopefully I can address each one of them if I haven't already.